Hi everybody, and welcome to Philosophy Friday. This is a little segment that I'm doing live on Instagram to give you just a little flavour of some of the philosophy that underpins the yogic path or the yoga system. And I'm talking about the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So I've been going through, hey, if you're joining live, I've been going through the 8-limb path of yoga over the last few weeks. And if you haven't been able to join me for the other sessions, I'll catch you up that we're now up to limb 7 of 8. So we've already gone through the ethics of yoga. To pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses, and this real turning inwards, and letting and the discernment of our mind from the distractions to start to move into a point of focus, which then leads to the dharana, which was the first of the more meditative states. And dharana is when we are concentrating on one point of focus or an anchor in our meditation. And we spoke about that last week, and I led a little practice, a concentration practice, mindfulness of sound. And in many meditation traditions, meditation is meditation, whether we are meditating through this focused concentration or other sorts of different styles of meditation that might be more spacious awareness. But in this 8-limb path, Patanjali very specifically separates out dharana, the concentration techniques that help us to focus our mind onto one thing in the present, from the state of dhyana, which is what we might say is the goal of meditation in a way, which is when our mind becomes more still. And so last week I was very much talking about this myth that, in order to come to meditation, we need to clear our minds of thoughts. It's actually really impossible to do because our minds are always thinking. And so what we do is we give our mind something to focus on, like the breath or the body or a sound or a mantra, so that we train ourselves to stay present. And this is what Patanjali very specifically calls dharana, this concentration. But they're in service to starting to find this state of mind that is more still. So almost like you could talk about the still pond, the still lake that no longer has the ripples in it, and so you're able to see reflections. You can see through the still water into the depths beyond, but you can also see the reflections as well. And so we create this stillness of our mind so that we can then see clearly. And the word vipassana is hey Kylie. The word vipassana is to see clearly, and so this is vipassana is a Buddhist style of meditation. So dhyana very sort of subtly differs from dharana because it is it's the state that we are dropping into once we have practiced these tools of concentration. So once we've practiced staying fully present with our breath for some time, then, and it might take quite a while, it might take years of practice or even lifetimes of practice, but most people will find that with some dedicated and regular practice, you can start to find these states of dhyana, which is meditation in Patanjali's words. This is the state of meditation when we're able to still our mind enough through the concentration. We come up the limbs of this yogic path so that we've already turned our attention in, and we've already practice the concentration, and then we've created the conditions for our mind to become more still and more calm. And so dhyana is really this sense of absorption absorption into the whatever the object is that we are meditating on. So we're no longer aware of the breath and, you know, constantly coming back to the breath from whatever we're distracted. We actually become, you know, one with the breath. And so this is when we start to get into more of the sort of ethereal kind of ideas of what yoga is, and the really subtle but quite deep aspects of what yoga practice is. And so, you know, if this starts to feel a little bit untangible, then that's totally normal, because we're really getting into the subtle realms. So some, you know, meditation and so dhyana is very much when we start to experience ourselves as connected to everything else, as not separate from anything else. So our awareness starts to really become integrated. And so that's where we come to back to those initial definitions of what yoga is, of yoga being that cessation of the distractions and the fluctuations of our mind, but of yoga as also being the definition of union, of oneness, so that we start to, through dhyana, through this state of dhyana, understand ourselves as being one, connected, integrated with everything. And so it's worth just at this point talking to the idea of dualism versus non-dualism. So again, if these are new terms, then I'll go slow with it. But in many religions, you know, they talk about God, they talk about the divine as being something that is out there, external to us, and somehow the goal of our life is then to transcend our body and to, you know, go to heaven and to, you know, to meet that God or that divine. In this yogic path, particularly for a tantric yoga perspective of the path, we have a non-dual, so not to view of the world, and we see consciousness or the divine, or however you want to call it, as integrated into everything. So when we move through these stages of yoga, sometimes there's a misunderstanding that as we move up from the bottom layers of ethics and up through the physical and to the breath and then up into meditation, somehow we are transcending and we are becoming one with consciousness, with the universal consciousness. But actually it's not about us going anywhere or becoming anything. We are already that. So the practice of dhyana is a realization that we are one with everything through an embodied understanding of that, embodied experience of that, because we become so absorbed into whatever it is that we are concentrating on, or through spacious awareness practice or mantra, that we actually have the physical embodied experience of not being separate. So I hope that makes sense. I know it's big. When we get to these last limbs of yoga, it gets really big. And, you know, through this state of dhyana, there can be these amazing, blissful experiences of really feeling, you know, one with the universe, without that sounding too cliched. But they can also be, you know, powerful in many ways, in that, you know, we become one with all the dark sides too. So we fully embrace all of life, and we're able to experience life with a greater sense of ease and purpose. So it's big stuff. So before I leave you, I'm just going to offer you a really short, just a couple of minutes of practice, a beautiful mantra that really speaks to this idea of acknowledging this realization that we are all one, that we are all connected and integrated with universal consciousness or the divine or whatever you want to call it. And that's the mantra Soham. Soham. And what it means is I am, or I am that. Simple I am everything. And so hum is Sanskrit, and we're going to just do a really short practice to embody this idea that we are one, we are with everything. This Dhyana, this seventh limb of yoga, which is the realization of our connection and our integration with all that is, this absorption and integration, union of yoga. So you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, if that's safe for you to do right now, not if you're driving a car. Let your shoulders relax down, sit your spine up nice and tall. And we're just going to sit together for a few minutes. And you might like to, once you know the instructions for this practice, you might like to find some space to do this for a little bit longer. You can take a breath in and a sighing breath out to fully arrive here in this moment. Noticing how you feel as you land here. And starting to notice your breath as it moves in and out. As best you can, breathing in and out through your nose. And breathing into a softening belly. And letting your breath out softly and smoothly. And then in your next inhale, starting to introduce the mantra or the words in your mind as you breathe in the word so. And as you breathe out the word hum. These sacred seed sounds. Inhale so. And exhale hum. Just keeping that going. You can choose whether you want the so to be at the very start of the inhale or maybe to cover the whole breath in. And same with the hum on the exhale, whether you want that just to touch the start of the exhale or cover the whole breath out. Continuing along. So hum, I am this breath, I am this body, I am everything. I am not limited by this body or this breath. So hum, so hum, so hum. And slowly letting the mantra go. It's coming back to feel your body. You might like to bring the palms of your hands together and gently bow your head to close the practice, blinking open your eyes whenever you feel ready. Letting your hands rest down. And so this is really just a very short little meditation, and you might like to do that for 15-20 minutes if that feels okay for you, and just see how you go with it. See how it feels to to invite in this sense of integration, of acknowledgement that you are everything. So if you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this 7th limb of yoga. And next week I will be talking to you about samadhi and how that might really relate to how we live in our lives. Thank you.